Well, thank you all for joining. It's been quite a while since our last webinar, almost a year now. But boy, have we been busy. Our last webinar, we talked about the quarterly tempo that we were rolling out to everybody to create a nice predictable cadence across all of our releases. And since that time, we have released and shipped 7.0, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, and if you could believe it, 7.4 is going out next Friday, so next week. But today we're going to be focused a lot on a vision that I had almost 10 years ago now. And quite frankly, it's the reason why we even named the company Apprentice to begin with. And so after all this time, it's great to finally be able to share with all of you our vision for how AI can enable manufacturing, and not just manufacturing teams, but everyone that is part of the overall manufacturing process. And so we have a lot of fun stuff to cover today. We're going to keep the intro very short and spend the rest of the time on the demo, which I'm sure all of you are very excited to see. And so without further ado, we will hop right in. So quick agenda for today. Like I mentioned, very short intro just to set up the vision for how we think about AI and where we've applied AI across the entire product, both lifecycle and capability set. We're going to spend a majority of our time on the demo, and then we actually have a little bit of surprise, both in terms of the features and for folks that may be migrating from existing legacy systems. And so for those of you that don't know us, 2024 is actually our 10-year anniversary. We've been doing this a decade, doing nothing other than deploying cloud and mobile-driven solutions natively in life sciences. And I'm very proud that over those 10 years, not only have we worked with some of the best customers in the space, they've been an absolute pleasure and joy to work with over those years, but we scaled quite a bit to the point where now we are handling on a weekly basis over 4 million API requests a week. This is a system now that has scaled really nicely through different lifecycle stages, different modalities, different customer sizes, different types of deployment strategies from single site to multi-site to global deployments. It's one of these things we're looking back over the last 10 years. It's quite remarkable to see what we've done. But I feel 10 years in that we're really just getting started. And so what's really interesting is over those last 10 years, we've seen a big change. When we started this business 10 years back, the industry looked quite different. I think both in terms of the manufacturing strategy, the portfolio strategy, the IT strategy was radically different 10 years ago. Cloud was just a burgeoning concept, just a concept and an idea. But now it has become quite predominant in terms of all aggregate IT and OT strategies. But not only that, we've seen a big shift in terms of how systems are even thought about. How are they deployed? Gone, we believe, are the days of big, long, expensive manufacturing or MES deployments. And what we're hearing consistently now is fast, nimble, lower cost, higher ROI type deployments, of which we've designed this whole system around. But most importantly, probably the biggest shift is that last line at the end, moving from deterministic software to intelligent. And so today is all about how now we've bridged this gap between the vision of what this software was to what it now has become. And so this is where, as we start to think about how does MES evolve over the years and how have we played a part in all of this, as we think about this market, many folks are used to and are familiar with kind of legacy offerings and then kind of legacy cloud offerings, of which, though, interestingly, the feature set has not really radically changed in that kind of segment of the market. But Bioform has been a really big believer in this. And 3 years ago, they introduced the next-gen MES capabilities and put together an entire roadmap and vision for what that looks like, of which we have wholly adopted in spades, not only from a kind of vision perspective, but from a product perspective as well. And so we have now deployed and shipped capabilities that include high-speed new product introduction and CGT, where right now we are producing or about to produce 2 of the commercially approved gene therapies in market, which is very exciting. We've consolidated over these years a number of different systems from MES to LES to automation, all in a single platform to really help give you one single system that has a holistic view of all of your manufacturing data. We've then connected it. This is what we announced last year at our webinar, our Connected Manufacturing Network. So your internal and external manufacturing teams are all in one place because we are building all this up to AI. because this vision for AI has existed for over a decade now. And we're at the place now where this foundation that was laid from where you can draw a straight line from the kind of baseline capabilities of a manufacturing system to the next gen capabilities of what we've already built and deployed, especially over the last year with 7.0 or 7.x, to where we are today with AI. And so this is something that, like I've mentioned, has been in the fabric of our business since we've started this company 10 years ago, where we always envisioned that someday there would be this intelligent software sitting alongside the operator, the scientist, the engineer, the quality manager, whoever it is within manufacturing. And we always believed that there would be some type of intelligent tool, and hence why we named it Apprentice. We wanted to be that digital apprentice to support our customers as they were working on some of the most critical life-saving drugs across the space. And to now finally realize that reality is pretty special. And so we've embedded AI at every part of the manufacturing process, digital manufacturing process, from design to manufacturing, to testing, to release, to optimization. And what you'll be seeing today are capabilities across the entire spectrum, from how you can generate a recipe purely with AI, and I'll get to in a minute some special capabilities that we're announcing today, to how then you interact with and evolve a recipe over time, to then from there, how you then ultimately test that recipe and simulate the capabilities that you have to ensure that you are ready to get it to the shop floor. Because once you do move it to the shop floor, then truly that digital apprentice comes into play, where you have this co-pilot sitting with you at all times that knows exactly what's going on in manufacturing, and how ultimately then, once you get through your manufacturing process, how then it can also assist folks in quality for how they can review a run, approve it, and ultimately release it. Because then once it's actually out the door, what we are hoping to strive for is to connect all of this together to build towards optimization of your manufacturing, to create this constant iteration with both the tooling, the capabilities, and the underlying foundation so you can drive manufacturing excellence at scale. And so today we're going to be showing you not just these capabilities, but brand new capabilities that we have not announced yet, which include migration from legacy systems. So if you have an existing system that you are looking to upgrade to the next gen or accelerated MES, as we are calling it, AI capabilities can now support you on that journey as you're moving from one system to another, paper to digital, or prompt to digital as well. Not only that, we've actually heard a lot of feedback from our customers already on the AI capabilities, and we're actually be showing and demoing how AI is now embedded into all of our visual builder capabilities as well, which all of you really love, and then some other special announcements as well. So with that, I will turn over to Emily, our VP of Product, who will walk you through the demo.
Great. Thank you, Angelo. So a feature's worth really lies in its power to save, accelerate, protect, and delight or spark joy for a user. If it doesn't do one or more of those things for a user's journey through a job to be done, it's really not worth much. However, I'm very pleased to share that these AI features, every single one, are perfectly and beautifully blended together to provide value in all of those areas. So they augment our user's journey from design, manufacture, test, release, and optimize. This framework that we released last November. So like Angelo said, we've been building towards this for years now. So I'm very excited to start with a bang. We're going to start in our design pillar. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to walk through these features one by one. We're going to take our time. Please feel free to throw questions into the Q&A as we go. And this is going to be a fun session. So as you can see, I'm right into our procedure templates area here. And through the last 10 years of Apprentice, there are 3 segments of customers that come to us. There are people who come from legacy MES systems. There are folks that come with PDF or paper-based procedures. And there are people more in the greenfield, highly iterative, still process design phase. Now, I'm very happy to say that regardless of where you lie in these 3, we have built a powerful AI tool for that design stage. So let's dig right in. So right here where you create a new procedure template, we have, and I'm going to show the very first thing is completely new hot off the press, literally built in the last 2 weeks since Pharma MES, is our ability to migrate from a legacy MES system and build an automatic recipe into Tempo. So we're going to go ahead and call this a CGT migration from legacy. And this is going to be our webinar demo. So it's going to be a batch record. And I'm going to go ahead and select our AI procedure author tool. I'm going to give it my CGT tag here so I can quickly find this later. I'm going to keep myself as the author. And again, I referenced those 3 segments of users. We have built an AI tool for all 3 segments. So we're going to start with the migration tool. And I'm going to select my XML file here. And I'm going to go ahead and let's hit create. Now, while this is processing, Justin, I'm going to have you throw up a poll. We want to see where the audience lies across those 3 segments. Are you folks that come from a legacy MES system? Are you on paper? Are you a blend? Are you more in this process design stage? Let us know. Now, while we're processing this, I want to explain what's happening in the background. So this tool is running through every single line of the legacy system's XML, and it's looking for steps, instruction text, process actions, data collection points, measures, values, equipment scans. It's even looking for navigation pathways. So is it branching anywhere? Is it joining back? Anything extra for the operator, and it's going to generate it for you. Now, in my past experience with legacy MES systems, the glaring blocker from moving to cloud, whether it's with that same vendor or a new one, is having to swallow the pill, pun intended, of rebuilding your entire recipe set. Taking through every single recipe object, figuring out how it was built 10 years ago, what's compatible with the new system, manually going line by line, trying to figure out how you're going to move this over, basically redoing the project that you did 10 years ago when you first built your MES and deployed it. What better use of generative AI than to attack that problem? So actually, Justin, do we have responses to our poll?
We do. Let's go ahead and post those and we can talk about it. So no surprise, I suppose, from my side, Emily. I think the 2 top responses, I have paper batch records and SOPs, and I have a mix of the 3. So it's really what we see in the industry day in day.
Awesome. So then that's great because we're going to show all 3. So, all right. So now you can see it once this is processed. To give you guys a sense of place, in the left over here, we have our AI procedure author, and you can see that it's given us a summary of what it's built. So it went through and it identified, here are all the steps. It went ahead and added those. Here are the connection points and even the process actions. So let's zoom in here. And you can see for those who are part of Pharma MES, we've already hooked this up to Visual Builder. Again, this is new in the last 2 weeks. This was not here 2 weeks ago. We had it hooked up to our list builder. We've already done this. So let's take a look, and I want to prove it to you guys. If we click on this step here, right? So it's created the step, it's given it a name, it took the instruction text here, and it's created the process action to acknowledge preparation of the media and equipment sterilization. Again, all we did was upload the XML and let the AI model process it and generate it for us here. Now, while that took a couple minutes, traditionally, again, this would have taken days to weeks to migrate manually, plus you probably had time to go grab a cup of coffee. So now let's go to our second segment of users, our folks coming from paper. So let's go back to templates. We're going to go to create new template. This is going to be CGT PDF upload and from the webinar. And same thing, I want this to be a batch record. I'm going to do AI procedure author. CGT is my tag. Keep myself as the author. All right, and again, here are 3 segments, 3 options. We're going to go with procedure from PDF. similar. I'm going to choose that file. So as part of our golden data set, shameless plug that we released in our trial environment, go check it out. We have a paper batch record, and I'm going to use that to actually generate our procedure from PDF AI generation today. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create, same thing. While that's processing, Justin, I want you to launch the next poll. That's all about what is the most daunting part of taking and making that transition from paper to a digital MES system. So go ahead and answer that question. And while we're doing that, I want to show you that there's nothing magical about this paper record. This is the exact thing that I just uploaded it. You can see this is the exact title. It has some steps in here. They each have process actions or data collection points. It needs it performed by from the operator. It's nothing crazy. This is literally just a PDF. There's nothing special about it. Now, again, what the AI model is doing in the background, same thing as it's going through the XML, it's going through line by line of this PDF, looking for steps, process actions, step instructions, data collection points, pathways, all of that. So let's hop back over here. And how are we doing on the results of the poll?
And Emily, while we're waiting for the results, we actually have a few questions that I can jump in on quick because we have some really interesting questions related to what we're presenting. So the first question was around how can we incorporate doc management into how we can ultimately leverage the AI builder? That's exactly what we're showing here. So you can leverage your existing documents that you have and convert them from paper to digital right away. Next question was on the legacy system support, which versions. So we're not mentioning which versions here publicly. However, as you can imagine why. If you want to reach out, we're happy to share them directly with you if you do have questions around which legacy systems we support. But if your system does have hint an export of XML, we do support said system. We have another question around doc management, also related to what you're seeing on the screen right now. If you run this process several times on the same document, you get the same results. So this is actually the thing that I'm most proud of and happiest with, because we have created the capability behind the scenes with how we extract this content and leverage AI to digitalize it, that we've seen a hallucinations drop quite dramatically to then have repeatability across all of this. And then I'll pause there because we also have other questions coming through as well. But Emily, I want you to keep on track for what we have here on the demo. And then the next loading screen that we have come back, I'll bring back the questions too.
Perfect. Awesome. So as you can see, we have generated a visual builder procedure from this PDF. And also, I don't know if we've got some current customers on the line here. You might be asking, well, what does this mean for our augmented PDF builder that we do already have in the platform? Just envision this as that on steroids. So this just did all of that manual work for you when you've been going side by side with your document, highlighting and creating the steps automatically. This just did it for you. So you can see immediately that first step here. If I go back to the record, right? We have one-on-one here. This is all the patient chain of custody information. It found that step, named it, went ahead and put the step instructions in there, and it's already created my 3 process actions for me automatically. Pretty sweet, right? Now, did we review the results of the poll?
We did not, but I can give you a quick insight. So top just squeaking by is justifying the cost and time investment to management, followed very closely by maintaining data integrity during the conversion process.
This definitely can help with the data integrity piece, and the cost should go way down using these tools. Now, thank you, Justin. Now, I have to say, my favorite AI feature that we have built and put into the product is the next one that I'm about to show. So I'm going to switch to the tool that we've built for those folks that are in the highly iterative process design phase. So this is AI procedure generation from a prompt. So same thing, I'm going to do a CGT or biologics process, and this is going to be from prompt for the webinar. I'm going to go to AI procedure author. And again, I feel like this is my favorite because just the experimentation and creativity options here are endless. So this is where my engineering, scientist, product manager brain just gets, honestly, probably way too excited. Now, so here we are. This is a natural language prompt. That is all you have to give this to generate a procedure in Tempo. Now I have, so you don't have to see me type here over and over again, I have a simple natural language prompt. And I'll expand it here so you can see it. Create a step-by-step procedure that walks the operator through an inoculation process. It's part of biologics for a monoclonal antibody product. Make sure to include all steps and process actions. It's for the operator to record and collect information. Also go ahead and throw in a logical brainstream path in case we haven't done media prep yet. That's really all that's in here. We're gonna hit create, same thing. So now this is going to run through and create a procedure from scratch. While this is generating, you can guess it, we're gonna do another poll. And this one is all about how confident are you that this is even gonna work? How confident are you in AI's ability to generate MES recipes from prompts? And while we're doing that, I also wanna highlight, it's very important to remember that just like software engineers and husbands, the output is as only good as the instructions you give it. And yes, I got permission from my husband to tell that joke. He's also a software engineer, so it works both ways. But in all seriousness, the author of Co-Intelligence, Living and Working with AI, Ethan Malik, he encourages us to work with AI tools just like you would work with humans. So just like I had to give my husband very specific detail on what layout I wanted him to build in our son's playground, same thing with this AI tool. Detail and specificity is key. So you can see it's already generated here. Same thing as our first two features. It's generated steps. It's told me what steps it's added, process actions created, the connections made. And you know what, let's see if it was smart enough to get that branch right. So I'm going to zoom in here, and it did. So let me separate these steps real quick so you can take a look yourself. So the first thing it does here is ask to verify media prep. And if it wasn't prepped, it's going to take the operator right through these to go ahead and do that preparation and then continue. And again, same thing, it's created our process actions for us. It's given us this stuff, the work instruction text, all of this. Now, so we've taken
through that. Sorry to cut you off. I want to say that it's actually perfect because the respondents that came in, about 50% of you said that you are somewhat confident that AI can do most of the work, but significant human review is needed. You're seeing this play out live in action, right? You heard from Angelo. This is your apprentice throughout the system. You're watching Emily do this live. We absolutely believe in the power of AI, but we know that, somebody with the expertise of Emily needs to be constantly in review and doing work as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, co-intelligence is the goal. It's not here to replace you. It's here to augment the work you are already doing and hopefully take the pain part away from it. All right, so we've done full procedure generation already. Let's go ahead and see what else we can do with this procedure author assistant. So I'm actually going to say, because I don't see a ton of process actions here, I kind of want some more meat in the data that it's collecting. I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead and recommend some process actions to add to each step here.
And
so
while
it's going, yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
While that's loading, we actually have some questions in the chat as well. And awesome. So one of the questions was around, does the AI have capabilities to do equipment management, material management, formulas, et cetera? And so that's exactly what you're seeing play out live, because we then can have the capability where it recommends equipment scans, material management, in addition to basic inputs and calculations. For interfaces, not yet, but that is a very important word, comma, yet. Chris Beaupre, who is here on the call, our Senior Director of Solutions, runs our integration team. And as you can imagine, Chris is quite acutely focused on this as well.
Perfect, thank you. Perfect segue. So it's suggested several process actions to add. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to go ahead and add the ones it suggested for my equipment setup. So all I do is just say, hey, okay, yeah, go ahead and add that. Thanks. And it's going to do the heavy lifting for me. So this is in the equipment setup. So that is this step here. It only had one process action. And once this processes, we'll show you what it looks like when it adds these suckers. There you go. So it added the 2 steps that process actions that it suggested to me, the setup confirmation and the number of items to set up. Now you can also do things like rename steps, reorder, delete steps, but also hot off the press, just released in the last 2 weeks, you can use this to translate. So I'm going to say translate my step names to Japanese. And this is going to go through every single step. And the names here, if you're not a Tempo user, are what's in bold next to the step number here. And it's going to go ahead and translate all of that for you instead of you having to do it manually.
Again, another question from the chat. As that's cool. That's cool. Sorry, I'll wait.
That's okay. So as you can see, it already translated it for you. And for those audit trail lovers, you can see the summary of exactly what it was changed from and to when you've done this translation. So this can help you build those config specs. And let's go to the question.
Yep, so the question was around what records were used to train your model and how complete. Does it solely focus on biologics or the other template modals as well? So what's really interesting is that this does support multimodality. So it works on both small molecule, large molecule, and cell and gene. What was used to train, interestingly, how we've handled this is we've leveraged a lot of foundational model capabilities. We've done some fine tuning of our own, but we are not using any customer records whatsoever on the training of this model. So if you use this AI for your internal system, none of it whatsoever would move to, be used for, training that other customers can leverage as well. And so we created this really tight isolation architecture based on a RAG technique, retrieval augmented generation. And so happy to share more offline about how that exactly works. But it does support multimodality, multi-unit op, multi-capability, as you can see here, even multi-language.
Excellent. Great question. Great question. Okay, so you've seen how to generate a procedure 3 different ways and all in Visual Builder. Now, why did I show you 3 different ways? Because every customer comes to us in a unique situation, and we firmly believe one recipe authoring tool is not fit for all. I will say that 1,000 times. We're very persona-driven, use case-driven here. So just to drive that home even further, so we've been working Visual Builder mode. I'm actually going to flip over to List Builder so you can see how you can work with our Simulate feature. So we're going to shift from our design pillar to our execution pillar, which is manufacturing and test. So I have this List Builder template that is in draft mode. I'm going to go ahead and submit this for review, have my buddy Chris take a look at it. And once a template is in review stage, you see we have a new Simulate Run button appear. Now, this is where you can quickly test and iterate without having to involve an operator, without having to grab your iPad or use web execution, just to kind of get an idea of what this is going to look like when it's executed. So in this modal, you can see where we're headed. We put some little Easter eggs in here of the features that we're looking to add to this. But right now, we're going to do Happy Path, and we want to simulate that instant run report. And I'm going to give it just an average time it takes an operator on my team to execute a process action, I'm just going to say 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm going to give it a standard deviation of 1 minute, 10 seconds. Now I'm going to simulate this. And again, it's running through every single step and process action. And if I go here, you can see that it's giving me an idea of how long it took to generate that. So the duration of the step for every process action that was on that step, potential value. So you can see the value even of a measure process action here was 5.2 liters. And now you might be asking, okay, is that just like random hallucination stuff? No, the model actually knows the step names, the description, and has context about what these things are. So it can suggest what a realistic value an operator might provide here truly is in a happy path. So couple this with in-suite authoring, where the operator can actually provide recommendations on the floor to a procedure. You're simulating this at your desk. You can really start to optimize your simulation and test phase here. So I'm actually going to shift now more into the execution mode. And like I said, we are very persona driven here at Apprentice. So I'm going to switch over to a run here that I have for cell growth. And I'm going to play the role of a supervisor. And my colleague Chris is going to play the role of an operator. So let's say I am a supervisor starting my shift for the day. I'm in charge of this cell growth procedure, and I want to know what's going on, what might need my most immediate attention. So I'm going to ask that. What needs my most immediate attention? Okay, so no attention is required for the current step, but there's nothing that's happened on it yet. I should probably focus on the equipment. So you know what? I actually want to go in to web execution mode and see exactly what the operators are seeing to dig in further. So if I open this up, you can see our web execution mode open up here. And I'm going to ask for even more context. So let's see. How are my operators performing? And hopefully give me more context of where I should go next and what I should look at. So it's still in progress. Several steps have been completed. The kit's been created. We still need some more information on the biowelder. Have there been any exceptions? I definitely want to know that if I need to jump in. Okay, there has been an exception. It's great. Okay, it looks like the scanning of the location was done manually instead of a bar scanner. So that might be something I want to immediately ask Chris about. What's up with our bar scanner? So that's just an example of how our Ask Apprentice feature from a supervisor's perspective can help them hunt for what they're looking for without having to do that manual hunt themselves. Now I'm going to pass actually to Chris so that we can see what this is like for the operator.
Thanks, Emily. I'm going to go share my screen. So just a second. And I am so pumped up seeing all these features being shown live on this webinar today. It's been a real pleasure and joy seeing the whole team come together and build these over the past couple months. So it's just amazing. So right now you're seeing my iPad screen. And so today I'm playing the role of an operator. And you can kind of pretend that I've just started my shift. You can see here, we're in step 4 right now. And what would that mean on a legacy system? Well, that would mean that I would typically have to check for notes that hopefully the day shift left for me from a previous team. Might have to check in with my supervisor or even do a bit of detective work prior to even being able to resume my manufacturing activities. And as you can imagine, that might take, an hour out of my day. With Tempo and our new Ask Apprentice feature, I can simply ask for a summary of the previous shift's activities and see if there's anything that I need to look at first. So I'm going to go ahead and do just that. So you can see here, I've got a Ask Apprentice icon that I'm tapping on. We've got full feature parity between web execution and our iOS application for shop floor execution. So I'm going to go paste in that message and send it. So you can see here my question. I'm a new shift operator taking over for the day crew. What's happened during my procedure thus far, and what should I look into first? So you can see my response. Welcome to your shift. Here's a quick overview of what's happened in the procedure thus far. And it goes through and says the top 3 steps that have been completed already. Who completed the steps? Emily completed the first one. And you can see here that we're in step 4. It's telling me the step hasn't been completed yet, and talks about how that I should be first looking into the record buyer welder information step, which is next in line, and gives me an opportunity to ask further questions and get additional clarifications. And I have all the same buttons that I have before, so I can even check to see about exceptions, tap on that. And it talks about the same exception that Emily saw when she was in supervisor mode. So it's really an amazing feature that can provide lots of value. So basically, I've gone through and I've done that hour's worth of work ahead of time. And this whole feature has been built to support full context of every procedure template within Apprentice. And it's fed execution information actually live in near real time, so that it can truly function as a viable assistant, or, as we like to think of it, your digital apprentice. And so personas super important, and we want to provide the immense value of our AI features to both operators and supervisors alike. So thanks a lot, and I will hand it back to Emily.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. All right, continuing this theme of personas, we are now going to go squarely in the release pillar. So now let's envision that I am a quality person and I am reviewing a run. So I have up here a completed procedure run. It's an inoculation procedure. And I want to know, I want to give myself a sense of place, like what's gone on with this. So in our summary tab now, you see we have an AI summary. Think about this as Amazon's product review summary. So you don't have to read the thousands of reviews. It gives you a summary. I don't have to go through all the steps here to get an idea of what happened on this procedure. This is a too long, didn't read executive summary of what went down. So it's talked me through what steps have occurred. It even pops up in the key values here. So you could have it provide CPPs. And again, it's a quick read through. Okay, I've gotten my sense of place. So now I need to know, all right, is there anything, like I'm a quality reviewer and I'm going to tell it that, right? So I'm a quality reviewer for this procedure. Are there any areas of concern I should start my review with? And so instead of having to immediately dig into exceptions or steps, I just want to know, okay, what does it think I should do? So there's no outstanding signatures, awesome, but there are some observations. So it looks like there's something we need to look at in the biosafety cabinet. And again, something going on with scanning. But those are exceptions that only have low priority, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay. So then I can continue this interaction, right? What other exceptions have happened? What type of process actions have these exceptions occurred in? Is there a theme around this that I should start to look at when I'm doing my review? Now, finally, we're going to switch to our optimize pillar. And on the same screen, on the same run view, let's say I'm a MSAT engineer or recipe author looking to optimize. And I want to optimize this recipe. This recommendations tab, again, has a context of the run, the full template, and is now suggesting areas that I can improve this recipe. So this procedure could benefit from more detailed guidelines through sterilization. Looks like to prevent some more of the exceptions from happening in the future. So if you combine this with our in-suite authoring, with our redlining features, batch modification, all of the stuff that is right on the floor, we now have enabled this beautiful Gemba, Lean Six Sigma style process of optimization right in place with AI on your batch cycle. So this ends the demo portion of our threaded journey through our 5 pillars. And I'm so thankful that you were all here today. I'm going to pass it back to Angelo for one more exciting announcement.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. We actually have 2 questions in the chat, which I'll address quickly before we then wrap up with the final segment of the presentation. The first one actually relates to what you just showed, which was, can AI help with troubleshooting, for example? Tell us the root cause of a certain error message. And so while the questions Emily asked were exactly that, we've seen it internally where it'll fully ladder down into the detail and go through and precisely pick out exactly why there was a delta in the specification for a given process action or step. It's pretty wild. If you ask it very specific questions, it can actually help you troubleshoot directly. And then that same individual asked a question about list builder. And so early on, you saw the list builder that Emily had as well. So we kind of support both of these kind of frameworks. And then we also have a question about exception interaction. Yes, we do save those interactions to our logs. So if you did want to kind of do a kind of traceability through the logs for what maybe led to a decision, kind of led to what was presented to the operator, you can do that as well. Last question is around, can the Ask Apprentice in execution only pull data from the current procedure, or can it pull data from previously completed procedures within the same batch run? So this is a little bit of a preview of where it's going, in the sense that right now Ask Apprentice is constrained to just the current run, comma, but we are expanding this as, again, to give you a little bit of a preview, not just to all the procedures in a given batch run, but all procedures. And so I'll leave that note there. You'll see it on a future webinar, but very excited about the upcoming innovation that we have as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're perfectly at time and happy to see all of you in subsequent meetings, on-sites, partner dialogues. I'll be seeing many, many, many of you coming out of today's presentation. I'm very excited that we are back in terms of our webinar cadence. And so now you'll be seeing this happen now about once a quarter again, now that we're back into our old rhythm. And so with that, let me check the chat to see if there's any questions, and we will, nope, we're all good. We'll wrap from there. So thank you all. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, day, or morning, and excited for you to join. So again, big thank you.